forces that are going on right now.
I guess aside from the recession, what risks do you really feel like Raleigh, as a microcosm of the economy, just faces? What risks are facing Raleigh? I guess.
I mean, it's kind of like, because there's no real precedent for what's going on in the national economy now, it's hard to say, well, going on data from 1987, we can safely predict this. I mean, this is touching kind of everybody, and it's hard to say. I mean, 9 months ago, if we were conducting this, it would be completely different. I mean, it'd be like, oh, it's, robust growth. We look ahead at, 09, maybe not growing at the same rate that we did 06, 07, 08, but still positive growth, to now going, wow, I hope we're going to retreat. We just don't want to retreat much. So it's impossible to say. I mean, when the banking thing shakes out, I mean, the new administration hasn't taken office yet. I mean, it's still kind of it's difficult to predict what the landscape will look like in 6 months or 12 months. I mean, all the economists got it wrong. I mean, nobody saw what was going on Wall Street. Just imploded. I mean, 12 months ago, if you would have said that Merrill Lynch wouldn't be here, I mean, that's nuts. That's crazy. Wachovia gone. I mean, that's crazy. So it's almost hard to look at anybody as like this authority on what's going on, because there's very little precedent for it.
Do you think that I guess there's been a lot of emphasis on Charlotte, I think mainly because of Wachovia, because
Right.
it's the biggest banking center out of Lower Manhattan.
Right.
Do you think that Raleigh could experience something similar to that, or is that just something that, I know that there is some banking here, or
Right.
is that just something that is not really going to affect Raleigh?
I've talked to one of the Wachovia folks that I do some work with out of Charlotte, and ask them the same question, and they don't really know. I mean, is it going to be Wells Fargo? I mean, is that, if in the case of Wachovia, is that who is ultimately going to, I mean, that hasn't been concluded yet. I don't think they really know what's going to stay, what's not going to stay. I think what happens in Charlotte, I mean, they're obviously going to be more deeply impacted with it because that's their core. But I would think it would shake down to Raleigh for sure. I mean, there's certain areas within banking locally that are going to be affected. There's no doubt. But because I mean, our profile in banking isn't nearly as high as Charlotte's, it'll be maybe a mirror image, but on a much smaller scale.
Well, I guess I was just kind of curious for like local businesses, is there anything that they can kind of do to, not necessarily insulate themselves from, the trickle down problems that may happen, but just anything that they should be aware of, be prepared for, anything that they might see?
Be prepared for anything. I mean, that's what's so scary about it, because I mean, it's every day, it's so volatile. I think, the most important thing would be to stay as informed as you can, and don't really assume anything. The market, just look at the stock market. I mean, it's down 600 one day, it's up 400 the next. I mean, that's incredible. 12 months ago, if it did that, if 1 week's activity, which has kind of become the norm now, would have been extraordinary 12 months ago. So it's key to try to, as much as possible, there's no crystal ball, but to try to stay in front of events as much as you can would be the most prudent course for anybody. And I mean, especially if you're again on the street level, the mom and pop level, the supplier level, you have to go vertical. What the end users, who are the end users of what you produce, what's going on with them. If it's pleasure craft, I would maybe think about diversifying, because credit's tied up. People aren't buying things now, so maybe you would want to diversify. Look vertical and look left and right too. I mean, there's no crystal ball. But I would try to avoid the herd effect as well. I mean, make informed decisions and not let the crowd make the decision for you. Contagion.